Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about the actress Nathalie Emmanuel defending Princess Meghan. Let's get started. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you have not already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video. So before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has recently subscribed and all of my returning subscribers who have been supporting my videos and engaging. We've had a really good time, especially on the last video about Prince Charles and Camilla possibly having a love child. Y'all have been cutting up in those comments. I have been cracking up. But in addition to making me laugh, you have been dropping knowledge on me, and I've learned so much in this past day that I didn't know about that whole situation. So expect a part 2. Also, regarding that situation, something that I had an opinion on in the last video was that Simon Durante Day, who I'm just gonna start calling Simon Durante Windsor, he claims that Prince Charles and Camilla gave birth to him when they were both still teenagers and gave him up for adoption because they were not married. And when he was adopted, his adopted grandmother gave him a deathbed confession that he was actually the child of Camilla and Charles. Now, if that is true, that would make him the heir to the throne after Charles. Now, here's the thing. I have said this entire time, I don't know if it's true. Obviously, there's no way to tell without a DNA test, but my recommendation was for him to take a 23andMe DNA test. The reason I suggested that, not because I think that he's going to end up having matches to royalty, because they probably haven't taken the test because they're royalty, but the reason I recommended that is because on the chance that he's not their child, he will actually match with his real biological family, and then he may actually find biological parents that are not Camilla and Charles if that is not true. So if there was some sort of misunderstanding from his grandmother and that's actually not a true statement, the 23andMe will probably match him with his biological family, and he will probably find his parents if they're not Camilla and Charles. If they are, he would need their DNA to test. He could probably find a match with a royal family member who is not so close to the throne and maybe start putting the pieces together there. Who knows? But there will be a part 2, because I previously thought his grandmother just told him that because he was a child having identity issues because he was adopted. Come to find out, one piece of the story that I completely missed was that this was a deathbed confession from his grandmother when he was an adult, not a child. That changes the game for me, because to be very fair, I don't see too many people, I know people have done it, but I don't see too many people choosing to lie on their deathbed, especially not right before it's about to be decided whether you're going up or down, depending on your religion. I probably wouldn't chance it. So I don't think that she would lie on her deathbed. If nothing else, she may have truly believed that to be true and thought she was imparting wisdom on him. I don't think she would knowingly lie on her deathbed. That still doesn't mean it's 100% fact, but I do feel like it has a low chance of being true, but I don't know. It's not like the royal family isn't already mired in scandal, and they do not have pristine images. They protect their image at all costs, and that has always included catering the story to suit their needs, as we've seen is an issue for them. And thank you again, Ann Fu, for even putting that on my radar. That was awesome. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been supporting the channel. We have grown from 5,000 to 5,375 in like 2 days. Thank you. That's substantial growth for me. Thank you to those of you who have supported the channel with CashApp and PayPal and Venmo. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. You actually bought my new microphone and you paid for my subscription to my video editor, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you again to Deborah Jennels, to Sharima, Patricia Paisley, and Elaine Lawrence. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm so happy to have you as a subscriber, and feel free to engage as much as you like. Without further ado, I want to talk about Nathalie Emmanuel. She's an actress defending Meghan. So let's get into it. If you don't know who Nathalie Emmanuel is, she is a very successful actress. She was recently in my favorite Hulu original series, For Weddings at a Funeral, and that was executive produced and I believe written by Mindy Kaling, who's on the Archetypes podcast recently. She was also on Game of Thrones as Miss Sandy. She was in the Fast and the Furious franchise, and recently she was in a very good movie, her first leading film role in the movie The Invitation, which I saw in theaters and I loved it. It is a very good movie, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about it at the end. I have not gotten a chance to review it over on my podcast, but I will. I'll get there. So anyway, she's a very successful actress, and recently she stepped up to defend Meghan, and I was so glad to see that. The reason I wanted to highlight that is because ever since people finally found out what was going on behind the scenes with Meghan and Prince Harry and the royal family, more people have been apt to step up and defend them with the media. Once people really knew what was going on, I feel like a lot of us already speculated, but once we really knew what was going on and we heard it from their mouths, more people were happy to suit up and protect them, because that's not right. They have a huge machine gunning for them in the public media, and that's not fair. I'm glad that more people, especially more actors and actresses, are stepping up to defend their fellow actress. More people need to unify and show the media, like, we're not gonna put up with it. You are not about to harass this woman for no reason. You shouldn't be harassing anybody anyway. You're not a judge and a jury. You should be objective. So I wanted to talk about it for those reasons, but also Nathalie Emmanuel has a long history of being compared to Meghan. And as someone who really detests being compared to other people, I don't care if I admire the person, I love the person more than life itself, I am not a fan of being compared to other people. It is just one of those things that no matter how nice you intend it to be, it's always insulting. It's one of those things that I feel are rude things people do because they don't know any better. Now, I can say this as a Black woman in corporate, I have gotten compared to every Black woman I've ever worked with, no matter what. She could be from the city. As you know, I am a country girl. She could be from the city. She could be more educated. She could be lighter skinned. She could be darker skinned. I've been compared to my biracial coworkers, and I'm sitting here like, both my parents are Black. I'm just saying, like, it's annoying to be compared to anyone else. It's just one of those things. So, back in 2017, people really ramped up comparing Nathalie Emmanuel and at the time Meghan Markle. This is before she got married and became Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. But at the time, Meghan Markle and Nathalie Emmanuel were both actresses kind of floating through the same Hollywood circles. As we know, Meghan has a successful career in movies and on the show Suits. And then Nathalie Emmanuel has been in movies and limited TV series. So they were both kind of in the same circles. They're both biracial. They're kind of within a few years apart in age. They're probably going out for the same kind of roles. And because of that high level of contact, or at least orbiting one another, they got thrown in the same pot. So I can kind of see how it originated, but I don't understand people comparing them outright. But at some point, Nathalie Emmanuel got frustrated and decided to differentiate herself as an actress and as a person, as she has the right to do. A lot of people got mad at her for this and were like, you're insulting Meghan. She has never insulted Meghan. December 4, 2017, she said, I do not look like Meghan Markle. She is a beautiful woman, but we do not look alike. We are both biracial, mixed race. That is our only similarity. I do not look like Meghan Markle or any other light-skinned Black woman. Maybe my sister, but even then we are very different. #think. But I want to implore people to think outside, and I'm glad she #think outside of your own preferences. There may be something that people do to or around you that you don't like. We can't really tell other people what not to be annoyed by, and we really can't tell people not to stand up for themselves, especially if it means affecting their career. You got to keep in mind they were both actresses, and that had probably been going on for a long time. By the time people speak out on things, it's probably gotten to a breaking point. I personally do not like being compared to anyone. All my teachers would be like, oh, you remind me so much of Sakia. You are just like Sakia. You look just like Sakia. And it kind of took my power away because I didn't get an opportunity to make an impression on you for myself. Whatever impression she left with you, good or bad, you're probably inadvertently applying it to me. It takes your power away. You don't get to make an impression on folks. And it's very disheartening because you want to be able to get to know people on your terms. You are very different from anyone else, even when you share DNA. I understand people not wanting to be compared to others, and we don't have to demonize them for simply saying, don't compare with anyone else. She later elaborated on her feelings on this when asked about it in an interview with Glamour.com. She was promoting 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and the interviewer, Jessica Radloff, asked her about it. Meghan Markle's name is referenced a few times in the series. Maya, Nathalie Emmanuel's character, jokes that she applied to be Meghan Markle's decoy, and later that she thinks the royal family has already hit their diversity quota, which, by the way, was an ad-lib. Nathalie goes on to say, that was my line. Nathalie then elaborates, the thing is, it has really annoyed me in the past that people have compared me to her because I get tagged in photos all the time of some biracial woman. Like, is this you? Jessica then says, I wasn't going to bring up the Meghan Markle similarity, but then it was mentioned twice in the series, so I thought I have to ask. Nathalie responds, I understand because it gets brought up so much. I think I felt quite strongly that if anyone's going to make the reference, it should be me about myself as opposed to other people saying it to me who don't look like me. That's when Jessica Radloff says, it's taking that power back. And Nathalie responds, for me, having my own control over that was important because I hear that I look like her all the time. I literally got on a flight not long ago and people were like, oh my God, you look exactly like Meghan Markle. And I was like, thank you. Recently, a friend of mine was watching Suits, and there's a reference where Meghan Markle, who's playing Rachel Zane, says, apparently I look like Khaleesi's translator or something. It's been going on for a while. When I first saw that, I thought, oh my God, I can see we have similarities, but now I'm just like, she looks like a different person. Jessica goes, have you ever met? And Nathalie says, no, we haven't. I mean, she's a beautiful, talented woman. I would happily take the compliments. And I thought that was the most perfect way to say that. And Rachel Zane's character does reference looking like Miss Sandy. So in their universe, they are constantly compared. Rachel Zane is Meghan Markle's character from Suits. Miss Sandy was Nathalie Emmanuel's character from Game of Thrones. They both have recognized that people think they look alike. I think Nathalie Emmanuel is probably just over it because it's a lot. And I'm sure if Meghan Markle was getting that as well, I'm sure she was probably like, okay, now I get it, but stop. That gets old, especially when you are Black or biracial. You get thrown in the pot all the time, and it can make you so frustrated. After that, though, I was really glad to see, despite other people comparing Nathalie Emmanuel and Meghan to each other, there never was any tension between the two of them, and they never let that become a competition between the two of them, which people like to create. People love pitting two successful, beautiful women against each other. It's just the way of the beast, and I'm so glad the two of them were strong enough to not fall into that trap. So as Meghan became royalty, Nathalie has continued to support her, especially publicly, which I'm very glad. Strong women unite. In 2020, when the hate campaign really ramped up, there was a lot in the media about Meghan. I think that was maybe the peak of it. It was just thick. And Nathalie posted on August 22nd of that year, she said, more truthful headlines would say, quote, Meghan breathes and sparks debate on anything we can find to debate so we can legitimize the fact that we just don't want a Black woman in the royal family. Hashtag I said what I said. Now, if that's not a mic drop with the Nene quote, absolutely, Nathalie. See, she hasn't lost her spice. She will let you know. That's why I love Nathalie Emmanuel, because she's very honest and she's very tactful. And then she posted another tweet talking about the headlines, and she said, they be obsessed with Meghan, LOL. And it's true. The media is obsessed with Meghan. But this video was created because of her comeback yesterday. So as I was scrolling, someone posted this disgusting tweet. They said, can you make yourself cry? Meghan Markle. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. They're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds. Hashtag Queen's Funeral. And he's posted this with a video of Meghan doing an interview from when she was an actress talking about the ability to cry. And they used a photo of her crying out of her left eye at the Queen's funeral. Before I even say anything, I want to just let the ridiculousness sink in. Just because you know how to act doesn't mean that you don't know how to be a real human anymore and that you now live your life as an actress. Is it preposterous to think that a woman who admired her grandmother-in-law to the point that she named her daughter after her would be sad when that woman dies? Is that preposterous? It's not. And for anyone saying that it is, you deserve a quick kick in the chest with a big combat boot. And I said it. I'm sick of the games, okay? I'm done. That's such a ridiculous accusation. And I can't believe a human with a brain, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mouth to speak and 2 thumbs to type would even come up with something like that and put that out there. You made yourself look like the idiot that you are. But before I could respond, I saw another amazing actress, Leslie Ann Brandt, very successful actress in her own right. She commented on that post and said, "Our jobs as artists is to make something real in an imaginary circumstance. The connection you are attempting to make is preposterous, as if we walk around acting in our lives in these very real and human moments. I mean this in the most disrespectful way possible. Fuck off." I agree, Leslie. And this is why I saw the tweet, is because Nathalie Emmanuel responded to it. And she said, "If she'd kept a natural face, she's cold and heartless. If she'd fondly smiled in remembrance, she'd be evil. If she cries, she's insincere/acting. Racists will always position us as the villain and won't make any sense doing so. Foaming at the mouth, looking like a whole fool." She then followed up and said, "Also, let's police Black women's emotions like that isn't a tale as old as time." Oh! When, especially working in corporate, being in predominantly white spaces, they love to, not everyone, obviously, but I have been in experiences where they are so obsessed with trying to figure out what you're thinking and feeling at all times that you feel like you're under a freaking microscope. I mean, I can't tell you, I have 1,000,001 examples of having this experience where I'm simply existing and people are like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And I'm literally like reading something on my computer and like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? You seem so upset." And I'm like, I'm just chilling. So I can tell you 1,000,001 stories about how, as a Black woman in a predominantly white space, how you get picked apart and people try to project their emotions on you, all because somebody watched freaking South Central over the weekend, and now suddenly I'm OG Bobby Johnson, and everything I do is like, "Oh my God, is this because you grew up in the gutter?" Like, damn, can I exist? I want people who are not Black to just remember that Black people are allowed to exist and experience emotion, whether that's negative emotion, positive emotion. Emotion is emotion, and we are allowed to experience it and react to it in the ways that are natural and native to us, just like everyone else. And you are allowed to apply whatever boundaries you feel are necessary for the people in your life, but you cannot identify those boundaries based on a group of people, based on assumptions and stereotypes. You have to let people individually exist. And so I was glad Nathalie Emmanuel put it out there like that. So I wanted to bring notice to that because I was so glad to see more people, especially actresses, combating that narrative. That's a very dangerous narrative because it paints her not only as a villain, but like a non-feeling person. As much as y'all want to deny it, Meghan was part of Queen Elizabeth's family. And you're mad. And you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And so before we get out of here, I do want to talk about Nathalie Emmanuel one more time because I recently saw a movie of hers a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, and it's called The Invitation. And it's actually on Prime now for purchase and streaming, so I would recommend renting it. It is so freaking good. I had a blast. I actually saw the trailer just trickle down my Twitter timeline, and I was like, you know what? Let's go see this tonight. My husband was down, so we went. But I loved the movie. It was really good. It's kind of a retelling of Dracula. It's kind of like Dracula disarming the patriarchy. So I included a link below in the description box of an interview that Nathalie Emmanuel had talking about this film with Elle.com, and I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed this movie, and I really would recommend. I actually saw it twice, so I went to the theater to see it, and then a couple of days later it was out for streaming, and I rented it again and I watched it. So I really enjoyed this movie, and her hair in the movie, chef's kiss. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Before I let you go, I definitely want to ask, what are your thoughts on the narrative that Meghan faked a tear? Like, this is getting to be beyond ridiculous. But what are your thoughts on that narrative and the people who are perpetuating that story? And what are your thoughts on Miss Nathalie Emmanuel? I'm really interested in knowing, and I'm probably going to cover a lot more about her on this channel as well, because I've seen that she is an advocate for social progress as well as for Meghan, and so she's good by me. So anyway, tell me what you think about this. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video, and I will see you next time. Bye.